Welcome back. Another new stage, this one finishing near the coast of the seaside town of Riversdale, the Wairarapa coast famous for fishing and surf breaks. And another challenging stage 2 for Dean Sumner. Extremely heavy gravel, as you can see.
Well, Dean will feel like he's driving a grader through this, sweeping the road for everybody, but I don't think it's going to sweep off that quick. So the other drivers are going to have the same problem. One advantage for Dean, though, is it's quite damp underneath, so the road is going to get quite slushy for the cars later on.
Of course, as you saw in the stage preview with Emma Gilmore, look at the way the stage opens up near the finish. Sumner sets the pace with 14 minutes 39.4. And it's almost dusty at the finish.
Dean, a bit of a road sweeper this morning.
Man, it's unbelievable. On recce, I didn't think it was going to be this slippery, but we just got no grip at all, eh?
And now here's Emma Gilmore. I wonder how she's getting on with her choice of tyres.
She's gone for the harder compound of the Pirellis you can get, although there's still a soft tyre. The reason she's gone for them is to try and make them last. They definitely wouldn't have worked at the early part of the stage, but towards the end here, the tyres will be working now.
7 left plus.
You gotta love this stage, flat out to the flying finish.
Into 7 right plus. 400.
Emma's time, 14:49.9. Slower than Dean Sumner.
Emma, must be a struggle this morning, 10 seconds down on Dean in there.
Yeah, I mean, a lot better than where we were at Nelson, but just struggled a little bit coming down the hill on the loose stuff there. I think the car just need to do something with the setup. It's just not getting a lot of grip on the loose surface, but yeah, do what we can do.
Also making that gamble with the grip, Richard Mason. I wonder how the local hero's getting on.
Well, Richard Mason's tyre choice has really come to play in the first part of the stage because that narrow, gravelly section will suit those 195 narrow tyres.
250.
It's just me checking.
I know. Repeat 250.
Well, Richard's showing his experience there because he's been very sympathetic on the gear by coming off the throttle and trying to preserve the engine.
Good time too, 14:38.3 ahead of Sumner.
Like, there's a lot of loose gravel on the road, and I think it's getting better as the cars go on. Our car's not quite perfect in that at the moment, but it's really good in the harder bits, so I'm just trying to capitalise on where it's really good and try not to lose too much time where it's a bit looser.
Well, after surviving the big earthquake in Canterbury, Chris West wasn't too keen to do too much jumping in his rally car, so let's see how he attacks the big ruts on the stage.
Right, 4 left minus, right entry forward. Into 5 left plus.
Well, he didn't back off there at all.
4 right minus, 60.
Yes, that'll get a smile from the team owner. Shake, rattle and roll for Westy. He was fourth going into the stage, but less than a second off the leader, Jeff Gull, so we could see lots of position changes on the stage.
250.
Remember, Chris has gone for those soft tyres. Early on, that would have suited him, particularly with the damp conditions. What can he do as he comes to the finish?
14:36.8, that's going to move him ahead of Mason.
It's amazing the difference from recce. You drive through at 60 kilometres an hour and you think, no, it's not too bad, but serious amount of shingle in there, and I feel for Dean. Like he's got a bigger job this weekend, and to deal with that is something that he probably doesn't need.
Jeff Argyle still had the lead with a stonking 14:32.5 stage time, giving him a 5.2 second buffer over Chris West. But disaster for Sloane Cox. After such a great start, he punctured after a rock broke his wheel, and despite a lightning-fast wheel change, he would drop back to 20th. Glenn Inkster had another good stage. 5th fastest, just 0.2 seconds slower than Sumner, moving up to 4th overall.
120. Late 5 right minus.
Well, this is a good effort by Glenn Inkster because he's only 9 seconds off the leader, so a big improvement here early on in Wairarapa. But he's got the advantage of that nice swept road at the moment. A little bit damp in places, but he's making the most of it.
In the other classes, Ben Hunt had taken the fight for the Group N two-wheel drive title to Stephen Barker, was 6 seconds ahead by the end of stage 2. Remember, 2 seconds would be good enough for Barker to claim the title, so he had planned a conservative drive today, but with Sloane Cox striking problems, he now had a chance to win the Junior Rally Championship title.
Yes, he was only just behind Sloane in that title, so therefore, once he knows about this, he'll probably step his pace up.
Phil Campbell was back after repairing the Fiesta from his rollover in Nelson. He was keeping pace, just 10 seconds down on Barker. Aaron Cook returned too to the championship at his Kiwi 2 Honda, and it slotted between Barker and Campbell. Another challenging stage 2 before the service, Castle Hill Road, 21 kilometres. In fact, by the service park, the cars would have travelled over 52 kilometres of special stages. What a way to start the big day.
Well, look at these conditions, super highway stuff. No problem here for Dean Sumner clearing the gravel.
Man, he's motoring, isn't he?
He sure is. He's carrying a lot of momentum through here. In fact, Dean's not really backing off at all.
Chance to win the rally, just like his championship co-driver sitting beside him, Paul Fallon.
It's on to tarmac, 80 then 4 left to plus, dip 150, and long 4 right.
Fallon's already taken out the co-drivers championship. What can Dean Sumner do onto the little wee tarmac stretch, down towards the finish? 13:56.1. So are these the conditions which will suit Emma Gilmore now in her hunt for the championship?
No, I don't think so, because look at the dust coming up. That could be a problem for her. Remembering she's gone for that harder tyre as well. Now, let's remember, at this stage, she's 24 seconds down on the rally leader. She must win today, and she's 13 seconds down on Dean Sumner, coming up to the finish at this stage.
So it's make it or break it time. Look at her face. We're talking about pressure. A chance to win the championship. Down to the line. 13:58.6, so the gap's out to 15 seconds now between her and Sumner. Now Richard Mason. He's a desperate man and desperately lucky to avoid that bridge too. Hard to beat on home soil. Pushed back to third after stage 2.
6 left.
Well, that would have brought bad memories back to Richard, because he actually did go off last year, but lucky this time.
20.
Stage 3, it's really close out in front.
Left. Over crest.
Mason fighting back, going for the rally win.
Right.
13:58.4, slower than Sumner. That's a shock. So it looks like the stages are starting to suit the Mitsubishis. Can Chris West improve on his second place?
Well, the big question is, has these soft tyres held up? We know as he comes up to the finish line.
Sumner's still the fastest through so far. What can Westy do? 13:54.3, he's quicker, the fastest. And Jeff Argyle couldn't match his pace, 8.3 seconds slower, so Westy takes the rally lead.
Long 6 left plus.
Also in good form this morning is Inky. What can he do on this stage?
6 left plus, dip 180.
Whoa, look at that! Oh, he's giving those two guys a big hurry up. They'll be the luckiest deck chairs in the rally at the moment. Would have changed colour, you reckon, Roger?
6 left, dip.
Oh, I think so. Those two guys are pretty lucky as well.
He lost 20 seconds with that little off-road excursion and dropped back to 6th place. Glenn Inkster. Patrick Malley also had a bit of trouble. He dropped to 7th, just 1.4 seconds behind Inky.
Well, it must be frustrating for Patrick, because he had that rally off, as we said earlier. But he's really got to get on the pace. It'll take him a couple of stages and he'll be right into it.
And Glenn Smith dropped a place on this stage. So it seems like with the swept roads, the top 3 were able to get back some advantage. Alex Kelsey did hold his position though in 9th. It had been a solid morning for the young driver. He was in a good battle too with young Matty Jansen hanging it wide and towards the trees.
5 right, 50.
Jansen had a slow start in stage 1 but was slowly closing the gap to Kelsey, 4.4 seconds by the end of the stage.
And what a contrast in driving style, because Alex Kelsey drives that car very sideways, but Matt Jansen, he drives this car dead straight. It's been a busy week for Matt and the team. Christchurch base, a lot of work to do after the earthquake. Great to see them here.
Also starting slowly but having a great run through the stage, Ben Jagger, 6th fastest. That helped him to improve up to 11th overall.
Well, it's vital Ben gets some seat time. He's had a really bad year because he's spent a bit of time off the road. In fact, his mum said to me, watching Ben is a bit like watching the Hell's Kitchen program.
Yes, they've had a hell of a season. Out of the historic series, Regan Ross had a massive lead over Ron Davey, who he was tied with on points, but he was also battling Derek Asen for the Malcolm Stewart rally total.
Well, just listen to that BDA screaming. That, to me, is just like absolutely perfect music, Clint. Listen to this car.
Yes, bring on the BDA. In fact, Ron Davey was second in the historic cars, and he was already 2 minutes and 26 seconds, struggling to keep up with that bit of music being set by the BDA. Miles McElwain was third in the historics, another 50 seconds back and looking to be third in the championship. Shane Merlin stopped on stage 2, so Carl Rabbage in the other escort and Adam Fisher in the Toyota Starlet were now 4th and 5th in the class. And great to see in a one-off appearance the 2009 historic champion Mike Cameron making a welcome return as he prepares for the Silver Fern Rally. Out in front though, it's Chris West from Argyle, Mason third, Sumner still leading the chase for the championship. Good to see Patrick Malley back and doing well along with Alec Kelsey and Matt Jansen, the young guns. Regan Ross leading the historics. Ben Hunt having a good weekend in his battle of the Fiestas over Stephen Barker. And finally, Chris West would be happy to have won the battle of the morning.
Yeah, it's, the simple answer is working really well, and to be fair, those stages, first 3 stages this morning really suit myself, fast and reasonably flowing, so a little bit different than what we're going into next.
And it turned out Jeff Argyle had lost the lead because of a tyre problem.
Yeah, unfortunately it's gone down half flat and started to delaminate at halfway through the stage, so we had to just struggle through the end, which was quite annoying because we still weren't too far off the pace.
And Richard Mason was a little surprised to see the Mitsubishi of Jeff Argyle ahead of him.
I'm sure that Jeff would be having a bit of an advantage from road, but also there's been a couple of fast sections which wouldn't have hurt to have a whole pile of grunt. But hey, we're not really complaining. There's a stage coming up that really should suit our car, so we'll see what happens there.
And Sumner's championship looks safe if he can hold his position.
It would be nice to finish in the top 3, but don't want to take any risks, and we'll just keep on doing what we're doing. Struggling a bit out there. The stages are very heavily gravelled, but we're just holding our own.
And more than holding his own for an historic finish, Regan Ross.
Yeah, no, we've had a steady run this morning, no mistakes, and just trying to stay on the tracks. Quite gravelly out there.
These roads would suit you, these quicker roads?
Yeah, the ones with a wee bit more width are quite are really fun, quite good. But stage 2 is quite tight. You've got to drive it quite sensible in there, and it's quite hard to get around some of the tight corners without hanging the back way out. But really good.
Next stage coming up for a rear-wheel drive car could be a handful.
Yeah, I'll have some bit of sweat on the brow, I'd say, and the arms will be working in there. It's a lot of corners to drive around, not slide around. So, yeah.
And at service, Stephen Barker was thinking about a change of tactics.
Okay. The championship is pretty important for us at the moment, so we're not pushing too hard, but I've just been made aware that Sloane's had a few issues, so it may change our plans for this afternoon, but we'll just see how we go. It was a bit slow out of bed this morning, so we lost a little bit of time to Ben, but we went heaps better in that last one, so we'll just see what happens.
Coming up after the break, it's a stage that's a car breaker, the biggest challenge on Rally Wairarapa, round 5 of the Vantage Aluminium Joinery New Zealand Rally Championship. Welcome back to day 1 of Rally Wairarapa, the final round of the Vantage Aluminium Joinery New Zealand Rally Championship. Puketoi Road was the biggest challenge of the day. It wasn't so much the length, although at 29.8 k's it was the longest. It was the inclusion of this gnarly, tight little foam track over a steep hill climb, which was going to require the ultimate concentration from the drivers. These are the conditions at the start, where it's fast and open before it climbs up. And it's ideal for Dean Sumner in the Mitsubishi. Now compare this as he enters the farm road, which is more ideal for the old quad bike.
Well, being one on the road, Dean Sumner's going to bring that mud up to the top of the surface, make it tricky for the drivers behind. In fact, Dean's gone for a very heavy cut tyre to work in this condition. The only problem with that, towards the end of the stage, the conditions change again and won't suit the tyres that Dean's got on.
But at the moment, this is shed country where the cars have to behave more like mountain goats.
right 150.
Now here's the contrast. The second half of the stage, the road is flat out again, fast and downhill. So they're hard onto it, hard onto the brakes. Sudner stops the clock, 24:42.9. Emma Gilmore next through, and already you can see that the road is starting to rut up.
Well, this particular part of the stage will suit the Subarus a lot better than the Mitsubishis, and Emma's given a best shot here because she's now gone for those KM6 Pirelli tyres, the very soft compounds. They work pretty good in these conditions.
It looks like a mini motor. It's just hard to imagine the rally cars could actually race through here where the quad bikes normally go.
Well, you've got to remember, Clint, they're running specialist rally tyres, and they've got very, very specialised differentials in these cars.
Emma's time was 1.1 slower than Sumner, so could Richard Mason and the other Subaru take advantage of that.
4 right.
Well, he's given himself the best chance because, again, he's gone for those narrow 195 tyres. Now, Richard Mason loves the challenge, and how many times have we seen it where Richard does so well in these long stages, in these long, tricky stages? This is the tactician at work.
And long 2 right opens.
And we're about to see if those tactics have worked. As he made the big charge on the big stage. Looks like Mason is going to blitz the field. Certainly a very quick time, 27.4, 15 seconds quicker than Sumner. Talk about lay down the challenge. Pressure on this man now, Chris West, the rally leader. But remember, he lost a lot of time on a similar stage in Nelson.
Well, it certainly sounds like that car's down on power with that exhaust note. It certainly sounds flat.
Okay, that's not right.
Oh no, another problem. They've lost their way in the notes. Disaster for Chris West and Chris Cobbin.
And in fact, it cost them a minute and 15 and drops them from first to sixth, so the rally lead has changed once again. Jeff Argyle really attacking the stage. He lost time with the recurrence of his clutch problem, so Mason takes the lead on stage 4. What a turnaround. On board with Patrick Melling in 5th place, getting a great view of the Wairarapa countryside.
Well, this stage requires a great level of concentration because there's all sorts of things that come up, like that water coming up on the screen. Look at the big drops on the outside there.
Sudden 4 right minus 60.
Well, the road's definitely getting a bit softer, and what that means is some big ruts are coming in there now. So Patrick Melly and the drivers behind, they're going to struggle on these conditions.
Next through the GO track is Glenn Inkster. And look at that already, hitting some of those ruts, and a bit of a wild ride for him. And struggling through those risky conditions.
Coming up to the extremely slippy long 2 right 30. Repeat, extremely slippy long 2 right 30. The next 200 metres would check on the notes.
Oh, he's just gone off the road here. And he got plenty of warning too from the co-driver.
We're trying to go smoothly and cleanly, and I just probably left the braking a little bit too late for this one and just got sucked off into the bank, and it's just a river that runs down there, and the car's just stuck in the mud. But we'll drag it out and get it fixed and try and do a good job tomorrow.
Glenn Smith was slow through the stage, losing a minute to the leaders, but with Inkster out, he'd moved up to 7th place overall. Proving that sometimes it's actually good to take your time to actually make up some time. And Matt Jansen moved up 2 places on the stage to now hold 8th place, but he was coming under pressure from Ben Jagger.
Tightens for minus.
Yes, and what a stage to come under pressure. Again, for these young drivers like Matt and Ben, they have to have the ultimate concentration. Good learning curve for them in the world of rallying.
Ben Jagger, you could say, was learning from his mistakes. He could be excused for taking it a bit easy after so many off-road excursions during the season. And he was just 1 second faster than Jansen on the stage. So the gap between them now is just 5.8 seconds.
Don't go wide, and then short 4 left plus.
Alex Kelsey slipped back a place, just hanging on to a top 10 spot. The gap between him and Jagger now was only half a second, so 6 seconds separating 8th, 9th and 10th. And with Dominic Unterberger closing in 2, he was 7th fastest on the stage, now 11th overall.
Pink left, Water, short 5 right, Water.
Sloane Cox had a lot to make up after his puncture, so no surprise that he was 5th fastest on the stage, 35 seconds slower than Mason.
Kink right.
This is a great effort by Sloane Cox because he's got very, very muddy conditions to contend with. As each car goes over the road, the conditions get worse.
And he moves up 6 places to 13th, so a good effort. Stephen Barker also made his move, moving ahead of Ben Hunt on the stage. He was now behind Cox in 15th place. Looked like Barker would struggle to take the junior title, but as long as he kept in touch with Hunt, the 2-wheel drive title would be his. And Regan Ross still led the classic field as they head out of the track and back to service. So there's the change in the rally lead. Richard Mason now in front of Sumner, who still leads Emma Gilmore in the chase for the championship. Jansen and Jagger having a great battle along with Kelsey. Regan Ross, an historic drive so far. Sloane Cox in that battle for the juniors. But disappointment for Chris West with the team fitting a new intercooler at service.
Yeah, it's a shame. Like as Sim's answer was this morning, it really suits those public roads, but unfortunately we have lost some power in that long 29k stage. It's tight and twisty, and we're sort of at the moment we're at a loss to explain why.
So is that the big turning point of the rally, an advantage now to Richard Mason?
Yeah, it has turned around there. I think Westy had some trouble, which slowed him down, and Jeff was off the pace in there a bit. So it's good. 2 more to go for the day, and we'll try and keep it clean.
And trying to keep it clean and take out the title, Dean Sumner.
We could have pushed harder through there, but I didn't really want to take any risks. So, yeah, it's quite surprising. Maybe some other people had problems.
Yeah, looks like they did. So, championship-wise, it's looking good. You've got 2 stages today to go.
Yeah. Well, you don't count your chickens before they hatch, though. But we'll continue to give it a go.
And your number 1 fan here?
Yep, it's my little girl. She's awesome.
Talking to girls, and she's not little, but she's under pressure. Emma Gilmore.
A bit frustrated in that stage, actually, to be honest. It was very hard work, and we could see Dean one section of the stage, and we were up on him, but then we lost it all in the second part. So I think the soft tyres were good in the slippery, muddy section, but then they just sort of went off in the later section. Just not 100% happy with the car in terms of the grip we're getting, so just making a plan of what we're going to try in the next 2 stages. We're not doing bad, but I feel we could be doing better, so we need to make improvements.
And Jeff Argyle's had the speed, but unfortunately those problems keep coming back again.
Yeah, unfortunately the same problem that we had at Nelson's come back with the clutch. We did the last 10k with hardly any clutch at all. We've still got the standard boxing, so it's very hard work.
The next 2 stages are reasonably short.
Yeah, it'll be as good as gold through them, so we'll try and hold it about level. And we've got a dog box we're putting in tonight, and we'll bolt some new tyres on and see what we can do in the morning.
And bolting on some new tyres almost helped Stephen Barker in his chase for 2 titles.
We had a pretty good run in there. We decided to put some new tyres on the front and just see what we could do in there, try and pull some time back, try and chase the junior thing, but it sounds like Sloane's pulled back in front of us now, so we might just ease off for the rest of the afternoon.
And stick around, coming up after the break. They won't be easing off as they race home to the finish. Day 1 of Rally Wairarapa. Welcome back to the Vantage Aluminium Joinery New Zealand Rally Championship. This is it, Barton's Line, a very familiar stage to rally competitors, but with a twist. Today, competitors will turn off the stage and head south towards Morrisville. And despite being first on the road, Dean Sumner had overcome the thick gravel on some of those stages, and he was second overall going into the afternoon. And on this stage, 11 minutes 14.6 at an average speed of 93 kilometres an hour, so setting a hot pace. Emma Gilmore came to this rally as the only person who could challenge Sumner in the championship, but in reality she would have to win both days and Sumner would have a major problem. So far Sumner had no problems, and again she struggled to match his pace. 11:23.7, 9 seconds slower than Sumner. Out of the championship, but determined to win the rally, Richard Mason, the Masterton man. He moved up to the lead on stage 4, kept on the pressure. Had an 18-second lead over Sumner, added another 2 seconds to that on this stage to hold a comfortable advantage.
Right, +4 left, plus opens.
Well, just look at the expression on Richard's face. He's in his element here. He loves these stages.
But he didn't win the stage. Chris West fighting back after his problems. 11.9. He was 0.2 seconds faster, but of course he'd lost so much time on stage 4. Jeff Argyle getting it sideways through the stage. 11.15.4. He would hold on to third. But Patrick Malley, despite posting the fifth fastest time on the stage, 11.19.9, would slip back to sixth, 2 seconds behind West.
4 plus Titans to 2.
And that is just another example of how competitive this New Zealand Rally Championship is.
Repeat long 7 right, into caution, brake 2.
And how quick things can change after a big effort on stage 5 by Sloane Cox. Disaster!
Well, he got warned the caution by Taryn, but off the road he goes.
Yes, he limped out of stage 5, and once again the junior title aspirations were under threat. So the weather had held out, and now the final stage will be run in dry conditions. Let's check out the class battles of Day 1, Rally Wairarapa. Outstanding day for Regan Ross. He could have safely cruised through the day knowing that he had the pace from Ron Davey, but he went all out to compete for the Malcolm Stewart Classic Rally, finished the day leading that class and the historic class 11th overall.
Well, I'll say it again, Clint. Music to my ears.
Great shots of him working behind the wheel too. But Ron Davey kept Ross honest, finishing second in the historics. 6 minutes down though. Consistency rewarded Miles McElwain with another third place in the historic class and assured him of third in the 2010 Historic Challenge Trophy. Only 2 Kiwi 2 cars today. Aaron Cook returning to the championship to take out the class win of 15th overall. Campbell Wilson outpaced by Cook today in his Corolla. Stephen Barker had started the day conservatively, thinking about the two-wheel drive title, happy to let fellow competitor Ben Hunt take the lead. But when Sloane Cox struck problems, he sniffed a chance to also take the junior rally title. So he powered past Hunt to lead the class and finished 13th overall. A little disappointing for Hunt then, who was looking to take another day win after Nelson. And Phil Campbell, third in the class, but a big improvement as he'd kept pace with the leaders today. Speaking of junior drivers, this is not how Alex Kelsey wanted to finish the day after being top junior over the first 3 stages. Now, Brian Green had finished third outright in the FIA Asia Pacific Rally Championship of New Caledonia back in August. But I can tell you the competition in the Vantage Aluminium Joinery New Zealand Rally Championship is a lot tougher. Today he would finish only 10th in the production class. And with Malcolm Reed returning to co-drive for Patrick Malley, Dominic Unterberger had his third co-driver change for the season. It didn't seem to affect him though, his performance finishing in the top 10 again.
So it's 7 right, 120 line.
Matt Jansen has been battling Unterberger, Kelsey and Ben Jagger for 8th place throughout the day, but in the end he lost out to Jagger on the last stage.
Into 5 right.
In fact, Ben Jagger would be glad to finish with no problems. 8th overall, showing consistent pace through the day and most importantly staying on the road. So relief for the young boys from up north. Glenn Smith on his own in 7th, clear of the junior drivers behind, but not able to challenge the top 5 today. Also great to see him back behind the wheel, Patrick Malley. How's our co-commentator gone today?
Time is a 6:39.
Pretty happy with that. Back to you in the shootout, Clint.
Good skills, Patrick. Another guy enjoying his drive today, Chris West. Well, he was at the start when he was leading, but once again, Roger, man, has this guy had bad luck.
Serious bad luck throughout the season. In fact, you take out stage 4 today, Clint, and he would have won the day.
In fact, he came back to win both stages 5 and 6 to finish 5th overall. Emma Gilmore, her chances of taking out the title just seem to be slipping away with all those problems with getting the right grip and the right choice of tyres. Emma Gilmore had to settle for 4th, 50 seconds down on the leaders. And he was the one-time leader of the rally as well. Before he struck problems, Jeff Argyle third overall, but still the open class champion for the season. And trying to be the man of the season, Dean Sumner. Came here with a handy lead. Cool, calm, consistent, and bringing home the bacon on day one of Rally Wairarapa. Won't take out the overall honours, but second overall today gives him one hand on the trophy. And the man who came storming back to win the day, Richard Mason, loves his hometown rally and really turned it on to wipe out his season of frustrations as well.
Plus, over finish, 200.
So finally, good to see the big fella back with a smile.
Richard, well done. You're back in the winner's circle. It's taken a while.
Woo! Man, it's been ages since we've been on the podium. Oh, man, we've just got to back this up tomorrow with another one. So look out day 2.
And that's Mason's first day win in a rally since round 1 in Otago. Second for Sumner gives him the perfect position to be number 1 overall, although Emma Gilmore is still in with a chance to keep him honest going into day 2. Great start from Regan Ross in the Historics, 11th overall, and Stephen Barker still in the hunt up against the Fiesta of Ben Hunt for that title and the juniors.
It's only one day out of a 2-day rally. The points are in the bag for today, but we have to follow it up with another good result tomorrow.
Looks like stage 4 today was where you made the break.
It was certainly a turning point for us. The car was a little bit funny on the loose gravel in the morning, and I made some changes as we went. And when we got to the stage 4, which was quite muddy, it was really quite nice. And I enjoyed the stage, really. It was really good.
You know, we still don't want to do anything silly. I think if we don't finish tomorrow, Emma has to be in the top 2 to take out the championship. So we'll just sort of cruise on tomorrow, make sure the car's reliable and bring it home.
Today was a bit disappointing and a bit frustrating, really. Struggled with the car just in the grip, lack of grip this morning, and made changes at the last service for the last few stages, and thought that the car felt heaps better. Thought we'd have a competitive time when we got to the end of the stage, and it was actually probably one of our worst stages. So left scratching our heads a little bit, and it has been a disappointing day, but we're still here, and we have learned a bit about the car, so try and improve things for tomorrow.
Next week, we crown the champions in all the classes and celebrate a new Vantage Aluminium Joinery New Zealand Rally champion. We'll see you then.
So Dean Sumner only needs to make it home in day 2 to become New Zealand Rally champion. Great, though, to see former champ Richard Mason back to top form. He's one of the sport's great blokes. And we'll have